All in Sports Network. We love sports.
It is Monday, July 21st, and this is part 2 of our combined power rankings of the Texas position groups. I'm Tanner Carlson. That is Jake Jimerson, and this is All in Horns presented to you by Rogue Sports Network. It's going to be a much shorter episode. We went 40 minutes on part 1. This one's probably going to go 10, maybe 15 minutes tops. So appreciate you guys hanging in there with us. But we did want to split it up into 2 parts, and now we'll do the entire team rankings. But again, if you don't understand what the hell we're talking about, go watch part 1, know what tiers we're in, and follow along after you've watched that episode, because we're going to go into these tiers. We're not going to explain too much about it, but the only thing we might have to explain to our counterpart is why we have one ranked above the other or where they're ranked. And so that's kind of probably where the conversation's mostly going to lie. But if you want to know like what the tiers are and where these guys are, you're going to have to watch part 1. All right, Jake, let's go ahead, get into it. I took the honors in part 1, so I'll let you lead off here in part 2.
Just go down tiers. I'm going to use your tier names for this one, and just list our tier, even if there's multiple groups in there. Is that good with you?
Yeah, it's fine with me. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have 2 in my my bad A MFers tier. That's going to be linebackers and edge. I think that is substantially the best groups on this team, because quite frankly, I think they have the best linebacker group in the country, and I think they have the best edge group in the country. And so obviously those are going to be my best position groups on the team.
Yeah, and I can't really argue with you there, Jake, because I've also got the bad A MFers and then the bad men. The bad men being the edge groups. The bad A MFers are my my linebackers. But yeah, I mean, I think they're the 2 best groups on the team. They've earned that right, and that front 7 is going to be extremely fun to watch.
Yeah, and so then going down, we got these some dudes tier, and we're gonna have the same one here. I'm just gonna spoil that for you now.
Yeah,
I have the secondary as well, and I for all the reasons we said in the last episode, with the amount of talent that's returning, the amount of talent that we've seen a good amount of snaps out of, that's maybe proven, but now just needs to do it full time.
Quick question: do you think that's why we have the defensive groups rated or ranked kind of where we have them? Not rated. Ranked where we have them, where we're able to see more of the defense because they are more on a rotation. So we're able to see the Jelani McDonalds, and we're able to see these guys play on a more regular basis than we are, say, the wide receiver group, or some of the offensive line, for the offense. And so they're not as rotated on offense as they are on defense.
Part of it's the rotation. Part of it is just the offense lost more starters.
Yeah.
And then obviously what plays into that is not having guys rotate, because you lost Jade Barron and Makuba, but we know what Jelani McDonald is a stud. We know what Kobe Black is a stud. We know what Jalen Gilbo is a stud. We know Michael Taft's still back there. Malik Muhammad. I mean, you just know you still have a bunch of studs. I mean, even if Anthony Hill wasn't on this roster, he had gone pro, you'd know you have, a Ty Anthony Smith that's probably pretty ready to be a really good player. You still got Leona Lafau. You have Brad Spence, who came as a transfer. So you just know that you have guys that you get to see on a rotation more often. So I agree that plays into it, because you don't see offensive line rotate in, right, other than Cole Hudson, which is why Cole Hudson is a little bit more of a proven commodity on the O-line. But yeah, that plays into it. But also the offense just lost a ton of guys to the draft.
Yeah. I think, and that's fair. That's fair. All right, Jake. So my next tier that I've got is my established tier, which is the running back group. I really think that these guys are, the best proven rotation positional group on the offensive side of the ball. Now, they may not have the biggest star power, whether that be an Arch Manning or a Ryan Wingo, but these guys, you've got a 4-headed monster that I really think you have 4 dudes on this roster that could probably start at other places within your conference.
Yeah, the depth of this room is why established is the perfect tier for them, because you maybe don't know if you have that superstar, but you have the depth for sure, and better depth than most people have. And like you said, guys that would start on plenty of other teams. I think I don't have a tier name for it, but somewhere in between these some dudes and established here, maybe it's more towards these some dudes. I think that's where I would have the tight ends. I almost want to put him above the running backs just because I think Andres is going to be that good, but the depth of the running back room holds just a lot of weight to me as well.
Yeah.
But I think they're in a similar spot for me.
Yeah. And I mean, you could throw Arch Manning as a quarterback himself into these some dudes, or really a bad AMFer, to be completely honest.
Well, we'll throw him into these some dudes, let him prove that he's a bad AMF.
There you go. That's a good spot for just Arch Manning, but the
preseason.
But the quarterback position itself, I think, can be kind of set in right behind tight end, right behind running back. There's the quarterback as an entire group, because if Arch Manning does go down for a game or two, we really just don't know what we have that much. We're not as comfortable with the Trey Owens as a backup as we were with Arch Manning as a backup to Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, I mean, we don't even know who the backup is at this point.
KJ Lacey could very well be QB2.
Yeah, or the transfer who came in. That name keeps escaping me because I don't want him to win the job. I want to be one of the younger guys that beats him out, not because of anything I have against him. I just want one of these young guys to show that, hey, I'm the next guy in line. Yeah. Kind of like Arch did, taking over that second QB spot.
So we're kind of, we got Arch in the quarterbacks, but we also have Arch in the decent dudes category. And then the quarterbacks as a whole group are a little bit below the running backs and the tight ends.
Yeah. I think that's kind of spot on for both of us, just because Arch, I kind of, on the episode, the last episode, I was like, Arch is in that tier 1, but the quarterback group as a whole is a little bit further down. Yeah.
All right, Jake. Where did you here? I think ours are going to be I think this is where you and I are going to start kind of differing a little bit. For me, I probably have offensive line. What about you? You probably have wide receivers.
Wide receivers would be next for me. I
think you would even have, okay. How about, you'll go wide receiver. That's fine. Then I'll go offensive line. And then we'll kind of go, I have a question for you after your explanation.
Yeah, I'm not as worried about the wide receiver group issue. I understand your point of after the top 3, it's a little more unproven, but you have a pretty damn good top 3. And Ryan Wingo could be one of the best wide receivers in the country. Obviously I think the top 2 wide receivers in the country are fairly solidified. Right now, I don't know if Wingo can break into that. I don't see a reason why he couldn't be a top 5 wide receiver at the end of the year. I think DeAndre Moore is going to be one of the best wide receiver 2s in the country. And I think Mosley is a damn solid third option, and it kind of can do it all, and it's going to do a lot of the dirty work. And then I just believe that Livingston, McCutcheon, someone out of these group of extremely talented players will step up when it's needed.
Yeah. I have the offensive line up next, and that's because I've probably seen more of the offensive line, kind of been more proven than maybe some of the wide receivers as a whole. But again, my point stands really on wide receivers and offensive line. If one or two guys go down, what do you have? You might be those. I think when it comes to the position group ranking, like tier list, it's really based on a lot of depth for me. Texas is so deep at linebacker, secondary, and edge rusher and running back, where it's like they, of course, have an established group of the position because they've got so much depth, whereas offensive line and wide receiver, I think that's where your depth gets a little thinner. I'm not saying the talent isn't there. I just think it's not as deep of a position.
I think it's easier to replace at wide receiver with just kind of raw talented guys than it is at linemen, though.
Oh, and
the communication that's required at offensive line, the strength jump for younger guys, the speed, and especially just understanding the blitz packages, the twists, the stunts.
Yeah.
It's a whole nother level in college than high school. And that's why I had the wide receivers higher. It's just because I think you have such a good top 3. And then after that, I just think they have so much talent. Someone is bound to rise to the top.
Sure. Yeah. So I was going to ask you this, Jake, because now that we've kind of talked offensive line, we've talked a little bit wide receiver. The only group that we haven't really gotten into yet is the interior defensive line. I'm assuming I was going to ask you, where do you have the offensive line, defensive line in terms of who gets that edge on your power ranking?
Yeah, for me, it's actually pretty easy. I mean, the defensive line would have the edge right now for me.
So your biggest position concern is offensive line on the
without a doubt, and it's not even close for me. I will say I think a DJ Campbell and a Gooseby are higher level players, like guaranteed top level guys than maybe what we have at the D line. But I trust the average of the defensive line to be stronger. Just going in blind before the season, I trust that to be stronger than the offensive line. Just because, yes, I believe in Cole Hudson. You still got to see it at center.
Sure,
center's a very different position than guard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I played offensive line, I played every position on the offensive line other than center. I tried it in practice like twice, and I was like, no,
not happening.
I was just like, this feels foreign. It feels like a completely different sport than playing the other offensive line positions. And so you still got to see it in a game setting from Cole Hudson. So he's definitely still not proven because of making that jump to center. And then Neto and Baker are completely unknown. Yeah. We've seen like 10 snaps from Neto.
Yeah.
We've seen about the same from Baker. And then test the depth. We really have no idea.
No clue. After your starters, you really don't know who's stepping in where after that.
Yeah, and it's not that I think the offensive line is going to be bad, to be clear, but as far as concerns, yeah, I'm concerned, especially going into week 1 at Ohio State.
Something, yeah, 100%. Something we did not talk about in part 1, Jake, special teams. Not that we have a great grip and a great, idea as to what the special teams units are going to look like. A lot of work in the offseason, got some transfers coming in at kicker and at punter. I think the punting game with Boemeister is going to be hopefully much improved. It can't get much worse.
Yeah, I'm not worried about you got an all Big 12 guy coming in with punter and kicker. It's pretty straightforward. You're good or you're not. And
well, that's what we thought last year, Jake. We thought that with Bert Auburn.
Fair. There's a mental side of it, right? But the Texas State, we've seen what they've done. I'm going to be confident in it until they prove otherwise. Just like Bert Auburn was confident until he proved otherwise.
Yeah.
But we expected the kicking it, but we knew the punting game was going to be bad last year. And it was bad. I fully think the punting, and I think that's going to be a big difference, by the way. I don't think how much stress that put on the defense, A, and then B, how much worse a field position it puts the offense in the long run when the defense does get the stop.
When the defense does get a stop. And
then I think the coverage teams are going to be from the coaching staff. When something goes wrong in a previous year, this staff obsesses over it until it's fixed. Yep. And the coverage teams weren't great last year. And I guarantee you they're going to be a strength again this year because this staff does not allow something to be a problem 2 years in a row.
No, I agree. Well, Jake, I liked our power ranking. So let's just go down the list real quickly. Here's what we got. We got linebackers, edge, secondary, running backs, tight end, running backs, kind of interchangeable. You've got your quarterbacks as a group, but Arch Manning is up there kind of with the secondary edge elite group. And then you've got wide receiver for me, an offensive line, you wide receiver, kind of interchangeable, and then that interior defensive line, kind of to round it out. But for you, Jake, you've got offensive line near the bottom or at the bottom. So
yeah, let me ask you one question. As confident as we are that this team will be really good this year, we've talked about having a higher ceiling, maybe a lower floor. The reason we have a lower floor on this team is because the fact that think about what our bottom 2 tiers are. It's the line of scrimmage.
Offense and defensive line. Yep.
That's a big concern, right? The fact, even though we think they'll be fine, the fact those are I would say substantially the biggest concerns going into the season.
Especially on the interior.
Yeah, I mean interior D-line, and then the offensive line is a cohesive group.
As a learning to play with each other. Yeah, first time playing with this offensive line group as a starting 5 together. I do think that, again, I have no question about the talent that's on this team at all. I think the skill and the talent is there. Have they played together? Can they work together? Can they be a cohesive, efficient group? Are they going to stay healthy? Are we going to have to move pieces around? Is there going to be consistency at those positions? Is my biggest question. You always kind of have to throw those unknown variables out there and see what sticks. Because last year we were fortunate enough, we thought maybe Trevor Gooseby was going to be, obviously not Kelvin Banks if he ever had to come in for Kelvin Banks, but he could hold his own. Well, he did more than hold his own. He did really, really freaking good, And so we don't know anything about what's really following this starting offensive line.
No, but if they look great week one, I am again, the things that will be said on this podcast, if they look good week one at
Jake,
Ohio State.
If this team looks really good against Ohio State, comes away with a loss, final second field goal, I don't know, some fluky
just a close game.
Very close game, just kind of battled it out. But this team looked really good. Ohio State also just looks really good. I might say some outlandish stuff about this.
Yeah, even with a loss. I mean,
I'm going to feel very confident.
We'll have Ohio State in our comments saying some nasty things if it's like that, but it's a game one. For me, it is very much it's a measuring stick game. If it's week 2 or 3, I think I'd have a little more stakes and like, okay, they need to win this to prove it. It being week 1 just makes it because you don't get a scrimmage, you don't get an exhibition. You're just jumping in the fire week 1. And if it was at home, I'd also have a little bit a different viewpoint. It being on the road, I think it's a great way to start the season from an excitement perspective, but I don't think it's a great way to gauge what the season's going to be like just based off that result.
No, not at all. All right, Jake, that's going to do it for today's episode. Got 17 minutes. Man, I still went over a little bit of what we were aimed to do. And it just, you can tell we're getting closer to football season. The closer we get to football season, not only are the episodes going to get longer, we're getting further and further away from any other sport that exists. It's going to be 100% solely focused on football. And these conversations are going to be able to last a little bit longer than normal.
When we're a couple weeks out, we might just have to stop recording in the middle of a sentence and then just start our next episode. And you'll just have to deal with the terrible transition as a listener.
Yeah, because it's the only way that's going to be able to stop us. That's Jake Jimerson. I'm Tanner Carlson. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I hope you're getting as excited for football season as we are, because the conversations are just going to keep on flowing out of us. And so, like I said, the closer we get to football season, the further away we get from any other sport. And it's just going to be 100% focused on football here in a couple of weeks. So, all right, that's going to do it for this episode. Stay tuned with us. This was part 2 of our position rankings. That is going to be the final episode for that. And then, we'll move on for the rest of the week. But yes, please like, share, and subscribe. This has been your daily fix for all things Texas Longhorns right here on All In Horns. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, hook 'em.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.